Hi, thank you for coming out this morning. We have a presentation for the board members, and we're really trying to encompass all the different strategy opportunities that we can take while focusing on our competitive advantage, comparative advantage, and really realizing the different sustainability options that we do have. And with that, we hope to present to Blue Skies how they can connect African farmers to the global markets. And so here is our overview of what we're going to cover this morning. And so we have our industry analysis, introduction of modern farming practices, vertical integration proposal, public relations strategic focus, and our implementation.
So here we have the top 5 countries that have been able to export globally with the highest dollar value. On top we have the Costa Rica with $1 billion and 49% of the total market industry. And lastly, where we have Ghana, which only have $10.4 million and also possess 0.5% of the industry market. So next here we have the listed the global pineapple businesses that have been able to currently, since 2018, they have been able to produce and export pineapples around the world.
Here we have an analysis of Porter's 5 different forces, and we have barriers to entry, competition and rivalry, bargaining power of both buyers and suppliers, and the different threat of substitutes that we face. With barriers to entry, we find that we have a limited access to our distribution channels, and that there are a lot of opportunities and strategy that we can take there. And we find that there is the possible industry growth through globalization, if that's a route that we want to take. We have different perceptions of quality, which we find really differentiates ourselves from others. And with the bargaining power of buyers, we find that they are highly price sensitive at the moment with the different downturns and economic conditions taking place in Europe. And those loss in profits are offset by our differentiated product. And with suppliers, once again, we do find that with distribution, we find a lot of weak points in the channel and how we heavily rely on these logistic companies. And with the threat of substitutes, we find there is a large opportunity for economies of scale and different differentiation strategies that we can also begin to take.
Okay, so due to market shift demand in Europe because of the disruption with the MD2 variety of pineapple, there have been a really deep declining in the exportation in Ghana. So because of that declining period, Ghana has seen a really decrease in exportation, which is from the average of 60 before 2004 to an average of about 14% currently. So next, to overcome the current disruption that is going on right now in the market of fresh fruit market, so to overcome that, we have been able to launch 2 farms where we've been able to produce smooth cayenne, which we have been able to do before, and also implement the MD2 until we try to do that until the production for fresh pineapple comes back again. So since it has not been able to work well for us, so we also try to implement and sell other products to other our local market. For example, we started selling Blue Skies. So for example, we started selling juice in Ghana and also pre-packed food in other franchise. So the advantages that we have are the comparative one, which is our shipping price, which is lower than our competitors, and also the competitive advantages that we have is the ability to leverage our lower transportation costs and provide developed market with higher quality, fresher food product and other that other suppliers are not able to do.
Our first strategy proposal addresses one of Blue Skies' most difficult challenges, and that's competing on a global market as a small-scale fruit provider in Africa. So we want to grow sustainably in the long term and be able to compete with these large corporate farms in developed economies like the United States and Europe. So we want to maintain our brand of organically farmed and socially conscious firm. That requires our production standards to be high across the board. So if we're selling a well-certified organic product, we want every step in the supply chain to be modern and advanced and high quality as possible. We want to develop sustainable farming practices. And aside from the advantages we get as a business, such as improved forecasting and reduced supply risk that we've seen in the past, we want to be able to grow our farms in the long term and in a healthy and organic way. And we also need to make sure that our benefits are passed on to the farmers. So our growth as a company, our growth in productivity and revenue gains need to be pushed back down the stream and make sure that our farmers are prospering well in order to grow long term together. So we already have a very good working relationship with our farmers. In the past, we provided them with agriculture chemicals, education, and financing on their farms. However, we want to take that one step further and expand our assistance. We want to work to standardize output and maintain our levels over a long period of time. And to do this, we want to introduce North American and European farming techniques that will stabilize our farm output and conserve our water and resources. So our plan to do this is we want to contract with specialized agriculture experts, particularly in the U.S., ones who are familiar with these high productivity, high output farms, and ones in Africa that are familiar with the local communities and their more wholesome approach to farming. And some American agriculture consultants like to practice the best management. For example, they use crop load management, they'll use technology to track their output, and they'll use new modern conservation techniques. African Integrated Farm Management, or IFM, is a framework in which African farms work as a larger, more involved with their community in a way to help give back to their farmers, promote growth, and adopt modern practices like the ones of North America, in an appropriate way for them. So some examples of North American agriculture best practice is precision crop load management. So figuring out the optimum crop sizes, figuring out when to prune and thin our plants. Modern low-impact soil conservation involves creating natural barriers, measuring sediment, and controlling our irrigation schedules to make sure that the land and soil we operate on are sustainable for long-term and are most productive for our plants. We want to leverage new technology such as field management software. We believe that when we track our farm yields and we track our output, it will help in aid in forecasting and in future growth. And also we want to manage our water and chemical output for the obvious reasons of respecting the environment around us and making sure that our farms every year and in all their cycles are the same and maintain their productivity.
African Integrated Farm Management uses 7 practices in order to integrate their whole farming practice, their community, their organizations, and to protect the environment in which they live in. It provides a good framework for small developing farmers to adopt larger practices.
So a strategy that we propose to take is to integrate vertically, and we plan to do this through forward integration, and we hope to acquire different prospects of logistics companies that will lead to a better and more timely supply of our pineapples. And so this also will reduce the costs that we face when we attempt to assist farmers in getting the production picked up, and it will also allow us to no longer outsource our greatest expense, which is transportation. And an example of this that we looked into to analyze our situation was Amazon, how they recently launched a shipping distribution service, and we find that we would find many of the same benefits that they have by vertically integrating. And with this, we do have potential obstacles that we're going to face, and the greatest of that is the initial expense, which will be significant, but with that cost increase, we hope to achieve and create economies of scale. And with the creation of economies of scale, it should hopefully, in the long run, offset that increase in costs. And also the potential obstacle faced will be an increase in size of a firm, and with that always comes the potential increase of loss of focus. And with that, we hope to really gain tighter quality control within our management, and with that, we also hope that there will be a better flow of information when conducting future production schedules.
Third and final strategy is our marketing campaign to promote our ethical farming. First, we're going to implement sustainable business practices in the areas that we're doing business currently. Second, we're going to demonstrate social responsibility and promote education in underdeveloped areas. And finally, we're going to provide sustainable opportunities in the areas that we are doing our business now. By improving these relationships, we are going to offer mentorship programs and promote sustainable farming in Ghana and Nigeria. By providing educational programs, we will increase food production in underdeveloped areas and also focus on promoting sustainable farming.
Yeah, keep going.
Now that we have presented you with our strategies, we are also going to present you with a 30, 60, 90 day plan. To begin, we're going to start with a press release, just letting everyone know our partnership with Farmer to Farmer, explaining the purpose of the organization and why we have partnered with it. Then we're going to implement new packaging and marketing materials to promote Blue Sky's partnership with Farmers to Farmer. And we also want to educate our consumer and make them feel as if they are working along with us to help these people with Farmers to Farmers. First, step one, we will begin Farmers to Farmers in Ghana, and then we will move it to Nigeria.
For the 60-day critical component of this 60-90 day plan, we hope to have a drafted proposal in hopes of having it approved to vertically integrate by acquiring several targets. We hope to either acquire Mass Logistics Ghana Limited, BJH Logistics, or Premier Logistics Inc. And this will really help to increase the consistency of the pineapples that we get in from farmers each year. And all three of these prospects have both land, sea, and air transportation methods. And we no longer will need to outsource this transportation cost. And two critical capabilities that we see are system development and transportation, which will hopefully be developed. And the new operational necessities that will need to be coordinated will be between Blue Skies and whichever acquired company we take on. And this will lead to the expansion of existing core competencies that we have and the creation of new ones. And we believe that our existing core competencies are our niche market power, 48-hour freshness, and our local labor workforce.
At 90 days, we want to establish two key things. First, we want to make contact with our North American and African expert consultants. And second, we need to lay a framework and baseline for our modernization of our early supply chain. We'll do this by identifying the needs and abilities of our smallholder farmers to create a starting point where we could begin implementation. We need to figure out our communication schedules, who we're going to contact at each farm, and what their abilities are currently, and how they can scale our production. We also want to begin analyzing our land, our resources. We want to test current crop output, soil conditions, and use that as a baseline data for tracking and modernizing our farms. And lastly, we want to begin sourcing, testing, and evaluating software solutions and technology providers that will help with the growth and forecasting of our crops.
These are the different resources we use, and we want to thank you this morning for your attention. And if you have any questions about implementation, the strategy, and any other things that may come to your attention, please direct them towards us, and we will be happy to answer them. Thank you.